The Ritz-Carlton card, the secret, illustrious, infamous hotel credit card that nobody knows exists. The card that offers the most powerful hotel free night certificate known to man, a travel credit that is extremely simplistic and easy to use, and not to mention airport lounge access rivaled by no other card on the market. And the one card that everybody needs in their endgame setup. Well, what if I told you that I don't believe any of that, and that the Ritz-Carlton credit card is not as great as you might think? And since I've seen that the Sapphire Reserve has been revamped with a higher annual fee, more credits, and losing a lot of things that people loved on this card, I see a lot of people looking at the Ritz as their flight to safety, despite all of the rumors that have happened recently that the Ritz-Carlton card might go to $695 and add some credits that most people do not want. Even though Chase themselves have said that this rumor is false, a lot of people don't necessarily believe them, and I don't blame them, because 99% of the rumors in the credit card world happen to be true. And even though I do agree that the Ritz-Carlton card is a good card, but I personally don't think that the Ritz-Carlton card is all that special, especially when you consider comparing it to another card in its class that offers hundreds, if not thousands of dollars and more value for just a $100 annual fee increase. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, take a look at this poll I did a year ago on the Hilton Aspire card versus the Ritz-Carlton card. It was about a 60-40 split in favor of the Aspire card and inspired a lot of different conversations on which card is better. In fact, it was so important that I did this about a day ago as well with over 1,000 votes, and the tides have shifted more so in the Aspire card's favor despite all of the hype around the Ritz-Carlton card recently, and I have figured out a few reasons why. First and foremost, let's talk about the Ritz-Carlton card. Now, let me ask you a question. When people talk about the Ritz-Carlton credit card, what is the main benefit that they bring up? Well, if you said it was the free night award that comes on this card every single year, you would be right. And I do agree. I think the free night award with a limit of 85,000 points is actually very, very powerful, and you have the ability to top up those points. So if there's a 100K hotel out there and you want to use a free night award, you can top up and you could book that stay. But let me ask you another question. When exactly do you think you get your first free night award with the Ritz-Carlton credit card? Is it as soon as you get it? Is it the first year? Is it the second year? Well, let's break it down. You guys know that if you want the Ritz-Carlton card, you need to have a Chase Marriott card to be able to upgrade to it. In this case, most people do the Marriott Boundless card. They will pay that $95 annual fee and get a good welcome offer on it, and they will wait 12 months to being eligible to upgrade to the Ritz-Carlton card. So they pay $95, they wait 12 months, then they upgrade to the Ritz-Carlton card. Then they pay their $450 annual fee, and then they realize, wait a second, where's my free night certificate? I thought I was supposed to get it right away. Until you find out that it's actually on your anniversary here is when you get your first free night certificate. So you have to pay not only the $95 Boundless card, then you have to pay $450 on the Ritz. Then you have to pay $450 again, totaling close to $1,000 in annual fees before you ever get your first free night award. And I can't for the life of me imagine why anybody would work so hard to getting that done when you could just apply for a Hilton Aspire card right here, pay a $550 annual fee, and you actually get the free night award that comes on this card literally within 1 to 2 months on average. That's right. Instead of waiting, as this guy mentioned right here, 732 days to get your first free night certificate, you actually just get it within 30 to 60 days on average. So I think that's crazy. And it doesn't just end there, because now we have to talk about my favorite subject in all credit card points and miles, and that is hotel free night certificates. And I'm going to show you exactly why the Hilton free night certificates blow the Ritz-Carlton card absolutely out of the water. So to illustrate this, I'm going to show a couple of examples of redemptions I've personally done, ones you've definitely seen before, but I got to speak from personal experience. Now, I wanted to see if there was any Marriott hotels in Lake Como, Italy, to use this free night certificate on. So I saw this hotel that's not open yet, and I saw this Sheraton Lake Como hotel. Now, this is the only Marriott property that I could see that actually is in Lake Como. Pretty much every other single property that Marriott holds in this area all lie within Milan. So it's not even Lake Como. So they don't even have a good footprint here. And this is something I actively have checked for. But let's say we wanted to book this Sheraton Lake Como hotel. Okay, it's 71,000 points, and you could see about 265 euros every single night. Well, if you do the math on that, let's say after taxes and fees, it's about 300 euro per night, or about 348 US dollars for that same night. And yes, with those 71,000 points, you can in fact use your free night certificate with the Ritz-Carlton card. But let me show you the exact same location in Italy, but for Hilton's free night certificate. Now, Hilton free night certificates don't act the same way as Marriott does. Marriott has the cap of 85,000 points with the ability to top up, but Hilton actually allows you to book any amount of points night so long as it says standard room. If it says standard room, you could use a free night certificate there regardless of the points price. So this is 150, 130, 140, 105, all standard rooms. You could all use free night certificates here. The only time you can't is when this says premium room. So it says standard, you could use the free night certificate. So right off the bat, that is way, way more simplistic because it doesn't matter what the points price actually is. Now let's see if we wanted to book this 150,000 point per night. It's a standard room. We could use a free night there. So let's see what the actual cash rates for this hotel is. So you could use one right here. Quick book 1454 euros with taxes and fees about 1458. 1458 euro to USD is about $1,700. In other words, about 5 times the total dollar amount difference between the Hilton one that we used the free night certificate on and the Marriott one we were able to use the free night certificate on. And trust me, I'm really not cherry picking. I checked a lot of different places before this video. In fact, let's do another example. One that actually kind of upset me because there was a property in Kyoto, Japan that I'm currently booking out that I wanted to stay in. And I was annoyed for a couple of reasons. Well, one, Marriott doesn't necessarily make it easy to check what the best properties are for your free night certificate. For an example, if I wanted to search by points, I could either search by 0 to 40,000 points, 40 to 80, and 80 to 120. The cert is worth 85,000, but sometimes the properties in the 40 to 80 range actually happen to be better value than the ones in the 820 that I've noticed in the past. But let's just say we want to search by 80 to 120 to get the most value out of this. Now, there was a property I really wanted to book in Kyoto, Japan. That was called the Hotel de Mitsui. It has 3 Michelin keys, an amazing property right in the heart of Kyoto, until I realized, oh, it's 124,000 points per night. So it's actually impossible to use a free night certificate with Marriott to be able to book that particular hotel. So then I said, okay, so maybe there's another property. I looked up the Ritz-Carlton. Most people really love the Ritz-Carlton. That's even higher at 134,000 points a night. So that's also not possible whatsoever. And then quickly what I found out is that more often than not, Marriotts don't really seem to have the higher end hotels. And even if you can get a points price as close to that 85 to 100K cap as possible, like this one right here, this Shisui, a luxury hotel in Nara, which is, mind you, 22 miles away from Kyoto, which is where we want to be, kind of the heart of Kyoto. It's 22 miles away. And you can see more and more properties of the places I want to book are just nowhere near it. But say we wanted to use it here for 84,000 points per stay. So it's about 95,000 Japanese yen per night. Let's just call it 115,000 yen to USD per night. That's about $775 in cash if you wanted to book that same night. Let's look at Hilton. You guys have seen this example a million different times. Here's a hotel I was able to book with a standard room reward with a free night certificate. And you could see that I was able to book a night, this exact room right here, quick book 254,000 yen, and after taxes and fees, 281,000 yen. So instead of 775 US dollars for a single night, with Hilton and that free night certificate, it's closer to $2,000 and approximately $1,900 for the exact same night. So about $1,100 cash value more than the free night certificate you could earn with Marriott. And now, don't get me wrong, the cash price is one thing and value is another. But one thing that I have consistently seen in searching for a lot of different Marriotts in preparation for this video is that more often than not, it's actually fairly hard to find high-end, high-level hotels that you want to stay in with Marriott, like for that luxury experience, that fall between that 85 to 100K range. More often than not, I check Bali, Bora Bora, a million different countries, and they all happen to be 105,000, 110, 120. Unlike what you can do with Hilton, where it pretty much doesn't matter how high level the hotel is. It could be 500 a night, it could be $3,000 a night. You can use your free night certificate there as long as there's standard room award availability. And so the free night certificate for me is no contest. And in my estimation, the Hilton free night certificate is worth about 3x more than that of the Marriott free night certificate. And for a $100 increase in the annual fee alone, that's already totally worth it for me. But if that didn't sell you, then let's go to the next one. What's the next benefit that most people talk about on the Ritz-Carlton card? Well, they talk about the $300 annual travel credit, which if you use it in the vanilla way, it's supposed to be used towards baggage fees, seat upgrades, lounge passes, and memberships, and what have you. And to even be able to use it, since it doesn't actually code automatically, you have to call this number or you chat in and you have to let them know, like, hey, I want to use my $300 travel credit. And the vanilla way of using it is very, very limiting. And most people will probably never actually get the full brunt of value of that $300 if they're purchasing things in this way. Some people can, not everybody. But I'm not going to lie to you and say that I don't know all of the ways that you can kind of game this travel credit. If you watch some of my videos, especially with Key, we've talked about this extensively. And for those who are unaware, since you have to call an agent and they don't fully know what this entails like we do, you essentially can just book hotels and book flights and book whatever and just tell them, like, hey, it was a seat upgrade. And they will end up using that $300 travel credit. So I'm not going to pretend that there's not easier ways to do this. Most people would tell you, much like all these rumors and stuff like this, that that's probably going to go away at some point in the not so distant future. But one thing that I found with most people of the Ritz card is they end up using it towards the United Travel Bank, because this is a bank where you can just pay money into with your card. If the $300 codes, okay, now you have $300 in cash money in your United account to pay cash for flights in the future, and people will just build this up year after year, much like on their platinum card and what have you. Well, you might be asking, Anthony, does the Aspire have any sort of travel credits whatsoever? And to that I say, two of them actually. But we'll talk about the $200 flight credit first. The $200 flight credit in its vanilla form is supposed to be used directly towards flight purchases. This could be for flights themselves or seat upgrades, stuff like that. Anything that codes for the airline. And that's $50 every quarter, so every 3 months. So what you could possibly do if you wanted to book this Delta flight, which I actually have to do very, very soon, you could book from Charlotte to JFK in Delta main cabin for just $79 one way, one ticket. And so if you just paid with your Hilton Aspire card, that $50 will be deducted after about a week, and now you just discounted a flight for yourself. Don't have to go through any rigmarole, don't have to talk to anybody, just pay with your Aspire and be on your merry way. However, what if I told you that you could also stack your travel bank cash with your Hilton Aspire card? That's right, every single quarter that $50 rolls around, it takes a few minutes, you go online, you pay your travel bank, and then at the end of the year, you'll have $200 in flight credits. So if you're somebody using your $300 travel credit on the Ritz-Carlton card for United Travel Bank, which, let's be honest, a lot of you guys are doing that, well, you can get almost that exact same amount, just $100 less in flight credits with the Aspire card as well. But it doesn't just end there, because the Hilton Aspire card also comes with another credit, $400. Hilton Resort Credit, $200 every 6 months to be used at Hilton Resort properties. Now you might be wondering, how do I know what a resort property is? Well, Hilton actually makes it fairly easy for you. They actually have a whole landing page that states all of the resorts that are eligible hotels for the Hilton Resort Credit. And you could see they go by brand or you can go by destination. So Africa has all these places. The Americas kind of goes on absolutely forever. Asia has a bunch of places, Europe and the Middle East, pretty much everywhere you could think of, there will be a resort property. And basically how this is meant to be used is that you would go to a Hilton resort property, you would go and pay with your Hilton Aspire card at checkout, and $200 will be deducted off your charges at usually about a week. It'll come off your account. And honestly, I don't think there ever should be a problem using resorts. You see how many properties are listed under these resort properties. I mean, there's so many all across the world. And so if you just go twice a year at a property that happens to be a resort, you could just pay with your Aspire card and get the full brunt of that $400 credit. However, of course, there's ways to game it, and we talked about in the past where you can kind of prepay incidentals and pay today for your food tomorrow at a property you have like a year out, pay your $200 at checkout, and you can use that entire credit on your entire stay. I think it's very, very usable, very doable, and it's a really powerful credit if you know how to use it. And so just with these two credits alone, not factoring in anything else, you're actually getting double the dollar amount value than that the Ritz-Carlton card has Again, $300 more for additional $100 in annual fees. It just seems like a screaming buy to me. Now, of course, the next one I can't defend whatsoever. I'm not going to pretend to. The Ritz-Carlton card Priority Pass PP access is world class. It's the best in its class, and there's no other card that offers PP that is as powerful as the Ritz-Carlton card, because not only as the primary card holder are you able to go to Priority Pass lounges with no cap, and you could bring guests for free, but also, and I'm a direct beneficiary of this, is that you can add unlimited authorized users to the Ritz-Carlton card, and them too also get their own Priority Pass lounge access, who can also bring their own guests in to Priority Pass lounges. And so, since I am someone who benefits from this, I'm never going to knock this benefit. A lot of people still say doom and gloom. It's going to end some point at some day in the future. Probably, but at least for now, it is best in its class. And sadly, a couple of years ago, the Hilton Aspire card did remove Priority Pass Select membership. So I did have an argument a couple of years ago that they was Priority Pass on the Aspire card, but no longer. So I bow my hat to you. However, one Google search will tell you that there are so many different credit cards in the world. And if you've already been in this game and you're looking for an endgame setup with the Ritz-Carlton card, you likely have some other credit card that gives you access to Priority Pass, whether it's some US bank credit cards that have no annual fees or low annual fees, giving you individual passes per year, or even an Amex Platinum card and what have you. Most people who are at this stage in the game anyway probably have a card with Priority Pass. So while I do agree, authorized users and Priority Pass, the PP is very strong with this one. I think most people would agree that you probably have a card with PP already, or you just don't care about Priority Pass lounges to begin with. I happen to like them, but most people don't really care for them. But what in the way of the airport experience? Well, the Hilton Aspire card does have its own $199, I think it's going up to $210 now, but its own Clear membership. If you're unfamiliar with Clear is, it essentially just lets you get through the security line that much faster. On average, I found for all the times I've gone through Clear, it was like 2 or 3 times faster than TSA PreCheck, depending on the airport that you're actually at. So most people want to ascribe a value to that. It's just a icing on the cake essentially for people who have this card. But the Ritz-Carlton card also has something that the Aspire doesn't: global entry into its own TSA PreCheck, which I think is also very valuable. So it just depends which one you don't have already or which one you would value in the future. Most of us have gotten a global entry in the future, and most people don't have a Clear membership. So I actually think the Clear might win a little bit in this way, but that's up for you to decide. I'm not going to debate that. But what about elite status? Now, this is also a favorite topic of mine. Now, the Ritz-Carlton card gives you the illustrious Gold Elite status with Marriott. And you guys already know Gold Elite doesn't really give you much, sad to say. And really, the main benefits of Gold Elite status with Marriott really don't come down to much. Like the late checkout, every hotel offers this. It's all subject to availability. Enhanced room upgrade, also subject to availability. That really doesn't matter. Every hotel chain will guarantee to let you know that it's subject to availability. However, the only real benefit I could see for Marriott Gold Elite is you get the 25% boost on your base points when you're purchasing through the hotel. So let's break this down. So now when you're using your Ritz-Carlton card and paying for a Marriott stay, you're going to be getting 6x points per dollar spent. You're also going to be getting 10x base points per dollar spent just because you are a Marriott Bonvoy member, and being Gold Elite gives you an extra 25% boost, totaling 18.5 points per dollar with your Ritz-Carlton credit card. Now, you might say that's pretty high. 18.5 is pretty high, and I will agree it is. However, looking at some of the redemption rates that we saw just earlier, and ones you could do your own research at home, most of the redemption rates with Marriott at the level that you can use the points at or free night certificates at, usually around 0.7 to 0.9 in my estimation. So if you're just using a 0.8 valuation, that's essentially like a 10% return on cash for future hotel stays. Okay, cool. Now let's look at the Hilton Aspire card. Hilton Aspire gives you Hilton Diamond status, which gives you a lot more. All right, I'm just going to say it, a lot more. One, you're going to be getting 100% base points. So not just 25% with the Marriott Gold, 100% base points, and they still give you the same 10. But then if you're actually using your Aspire card to pay for Hilton hotels, and yes, this does also include these SLH hotels that are not actually Hiltons, they're just partner hotels, but you also can earn 14x back at these SLHs, just if you're unaware. And so with that, you're going to be earning 14, not just 6x like on the Ritz, 14x on hotels and resorts and SLH properties. So that's 14x plus 10 plus the 100% boost, giving you a total of 34 points per dollar spent, which is roughly double the amount that the Ritz gives you. And in my own estimation, from all of the properties that we saw today and how I like to redeem my points for these SLHs, I can get on average between zero point 0.9 and 1.1 cent per point with my Hilton points. Not for the other Hiltons like Hamptons and stuff, but the high end Hilton resorts and properties, you can get closer to 1 cent per point. I've done it a bunch of times in this next year. And so instead of earning about a 10% return on all of your spends, in my estimation, you're actually going to be earning closer to 30% of a return on all of your cash for future Hilton stays based on the way I redeem and the amount of multipliers you get with these cards. So 3x the amount of value, I think, on multipliers alone with the Aspire versus the Ritz. Now, let's also talk about other multipliers here. Ritz-Carlton card also earns 3 points per dollar spent on dining, car rentals, and airline purchases. What does the Aspire earn? 7x points on airline, car rentals, and restaurant purchases. So the exact same categories that the Ritz has, and over double the amount of multipliers back for a currency, in my estimation, that's worth just a little bit more, or at least on par with Marriott. And then, of course, 3x back per dollar for everything else, and 2x for Ritz. So it even wins there. But then Diamond status doesn't just end there, much like it does with Gold Elite, because Diamond status gives you a couple of other things. One, in the US at least, you're going to be getting daily dining credits. That's right. If you stay at a property like the Waldorf Astoria, LXR, Conrad, 2 people on your reservation, you're going to be getting $50, literally 50 full dollars per day of your stay to be used towards the on-site restaurant that's there. So like if you want to go to a Waldorf Astoria in Orlando and you have a steak dinner between you and your wife, call that like a $120 meal, bill it back to the room, you're going to be getting a discount of $50 every single day of your stay for that hotel. And that quickly adds up, especially if it's like 30 per day, 20 per day, 50 per day. That really adds up depending on how often you're staying at Hilton's. And even if you could just get 3 days out of that of $50 per day, $150, that itself is eating into that annual fee every single year. It's infinitely powerful, and it's just way, way better than the Marriott status, I'm sorry to say. And then even when you're outside of the US, you're going to be getting continental breakfast. Like you can see right here, I just used in this Paros hotel in Greece. It's an SLH hotel, and I was able to leverage my Hilton Gold status to get this entire breakfast. That is literally the best breakfast I ever had at a hotel in my entire life. Now, one thing that is contested sometimes, which is travel insurances. Now, one where it does completely match the Hilton Aspire card is the trip cancellation interruption. It's both the exact same amounts of 10K per covered traveler, 20K per trip, the same amounts for the trip delay reimbursement, and same for the lost luggage reimbursement. You can pretty much see it right here. Baggage insurance, trip delay, and trip cancellation, all in the same amounts. Where it differs, however, is the car rental CDW. Unfortunately, the Aspire is secondary, but the Ritz, in fact, is primary. So it is a little bit more beneficial in the rental car department. But if you're really worried about rental coverage and primary CDW, just go get a built card at $0 annual fee. Now, where the Ritz absolutely shines with its Visa Infant benefits is the emergency evacuation and transportation, the roadside assistance, which is highly slept on. It's one of the most powerful benefits it has. Emergency medical and dental, travel accident, all of these are honestly unparalleled and extremely powerful, and I'm never going to knock any crazy situations that could happen like this. So in this book, yeah, Ritz wins all day long. All day long. However, some people also mention when talking about the Ritz is they really love their car rental privileges. They like seeing that they have status with car rentals. So here you could have elevated status at National, Avis, and Silver Car. Well, sorry to break it to you, but you also get National Car Rental executive status with the Hilton Aspire card. And if you've been in this game long enough, you know that once you have like Hertz Presidential and National Emerald, you can just email like the other car rental companies and they will status match for you. But again, that's if you want to put in the legwork. And so one thing that I have not mentioned yet in this entire video, just know that the biggest differences between these two cards is the way that they look. And I don't necessarily know which one looks better. I might venture to say that the Ritz-Carlton card looks better, but the Aspire might just be that much better. I'm not necessarily sure. But I think you get my point. The Hilton Aspire card, I can pay for today, get my free night certificate within 30 to 60 days, and I can get a free night certificate that's worth 3, 4, 5x the amount of value that the Ritz-Carlton card can give you. It has credits that can offset that annual fee without free night certificates in double the dollar amount than the Ritz-Carlton card. And not even to mention the Ritz-Carlton card in the next 2 years, if you decide to go for it, is likely not even going to exist in that same form. It might, I hope it does, but more and more people imagine that the writing is on the wall and it probably won't necessarily stay the same. And that goes for the Aspire. Aspire will likely go to a $700 annual fee because it's just that powerful in its current form. And so I'm by no means saying that the Ritz-Carlton card is useless. In fact, I think it's like a top 4 card for me. In the entire credit card world, I would imagine. I would love to have one day, but just to say, like, man, if you're really trying to get the Ritz for Endgame, I'm like, why not just get an Aspire card? Get 2 of them, get 3, get 5, get 10. 10 Aspire cards, I think, is really the true Endgame setup. And honestly, out of all of the premium, high-end, high annual fee cards, the Ritz-Carlton card and the Aspire card are really like the only ones I think that are worth having. And that's why I've decided to purge all of my high-end premium credit cards. And you could see my plan of action going forward for all of these types of cards in the future. So I hope to see you in that video. Subscribe to the newsletter for insights just like this. Subscribe to the channel and the free Discord down below. Thank you guys for being all the way to the end, and I appreciate every single one of you. Take care. Thank you so much.